What is up, everyone? Welcome. Today I'm at the Petrified Forest National Park. Gonna be doing some exploring in the park, checking some things out. So if you've never been here or you just want to be straight up entertained, join us today. This is one of my favorite places. So the first thing that I would recommend doing if you come to visit here is to go to this little museum here at the visitor center area. They've got a really nice exhibit there that educates you on a lot of the stuff around here, some of the geology and history of the region. It actually looks like it might be open too. I was thinking it wouldn't be open, so I'm thinking they're doing a temperature check there. I've actually come equipped with a mask, so try to maintain social distancing and let's go do it. And here we are in the museum. They've got some really cool fossils on display here. Some more sweet fossils. This is an Atasaurus, complete with a passenger. Oh, this is a really cool sign actually. I was going to tell you guys about this later, but here's a good visual. So back when the world was composed of one supercontinent, Pangaea, what is now the Petrified Forest was on the southwestern portion of that near the equator. So this used to be a very subtropical region, and we're talking millions of years ago. And now for the best part. This is the area right behind the visitor center. I love this area. There's like a pretty short trail, but look at how many specimens of petrified wood you have here. So right here, you can grab a trail guide. Sometimes they ask you to recycle them. I'm guessing they're not asking you to do that now because of the pandemic, but I'll keep that as a souvenir. But anyway, this is the Giant Logs Trail, this region behind the visitor center. And I'm gonna kind of read along and I'm gonna pass along some cool science information to you, if you so choose. And here's a little map. I mean, this is a very short trail, so this is one of several things we're gonna look at today. Here's the visitor center and museum we were just peeking in. So we're gonna just kind of do a loop, it looks like, and see something called Old Faithful. But I don't think it's the Old Faithful that you might be thinking about. Look at how large a lot of these specimens are. And I'm curious, were these cut like that or were they just broken? I'm gonna guess broken. But yeah, it's just a minefield of petrified wood. Yeah, in case I don't want to confuse you, I want to be clear. This little area, the Giant Logs Trail, this is just a smidgen of this park in this region. There is so much more to this, so yeah, don't you think for a second, this is it. We're just getting started. So you can see this trail. It's not paved, so I would say it's not completely accessible here, but it is very well maintained and clear. Pretty easy stuff, I would say. So let's start off with maybe the most obvious question that you might have. How did this happen? Like, how did all this wood, petrified wood, get here? Well, this stuff is approximately 216 million years old. And these trees would have fallen into a river or rivers and immediately become covered by volcanic ash and other sediments, pretty much halting normal decompositional processes. And then over millions of years, these things became mineralized, and really this is not real wood anymore. There's no trace of real wood. They're really stones, if you can believe that. Just look at how huge these trees would have been, and look at the detail. You see the detail of the bark. I mean, it looks like real wood almost. The only thing that kind of gives it away from the outside is like this quartz-like shimmer. And just look at the bark. I mean, that is just crazy, the level of detail. And if we look inside though, not as detailed. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah. Just take 1 second with me here to appreciate. These are things that existed about 220 million years ago. Imagine that. I think it's amazing. You can just see the thickness too of these trees. Huge. So this gigantic specimen here behind me is known as Old Faithful. I think that's a very fitting name for this one, don't you? Wow, that is huge. I'm looking at, like, I assume where the root system would have began, to give you a good look here close up at all the coloration. I'm assuming that's a mixture of quartz. I don't know if the red comes from iron oxide or not. I didn't really fully educate myself, but it is beautiful. All of the colors here, a lot of variation too. So if you're following along so far, step one, stop here at the Museum and Visitor Center, educate yourself, do the Giant Logs Trail next, get the trail guide, read a little bit, learn a little bit. It's absolutely satisfying and one of the finest stops, I would say, that you can make in the park, but by no means is this it. We got other places to go check out next. So one little public service message I'm gonna give you here is, I'm assuming most people are smart enough to know you probably shouldn't be picking up any petrified wood and taking it with you here. It is illegal. Unfortunately, I even saw one person do that back there. They picked something up and put it in their pocket back there. That's not good. Don't do that. So if you really have a hankering for some petrified wood, you can find lots of places. Like, for example, right next to the visitor center is this little curios and fountain store. Let's see what I'm talking about. Lots of petrified wood, very reasonably priced and nicely polished. That's cool. This one's calling to me today. Extra large, I'm gonna buy this guy. All right, I got my awesome t-shirt, so I'm happy. Time to move on down the road. Moving right along. So I'm making my way down from the visitor center. My car is still parked there. There's a trailhead here for something called the Long Logs and the Agate House. I assume I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I may not. So do forgive if I sound ignorant. So here's what we're doing here. Like, here's that museum we saw earlier. I'm here. If I point that way, that's the visitor center, all that, so you see how to get down here. I don't think a lot of people realize this is here. So anyway, we're gonna hike this trail, and a couple points of interest. There's this Long Logs Loop, which according to this is probably just a collection of more petrified trees. And then if we want to go all the way here to this Agate House, it's a reconstructed pueblo. I'm assuming probably hundreds of years old, I'm guessing. I think made of petrified wood. So it seems like it could be interesting. And that's kind of a cool perspective too, an aerial view of the Long Logs log jam, kind of showing you how the rivers back at 218 million years ago collected these trees and then covered them in sediment. You kind of can get a sense for what that may have looked like on the river. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty warm. Probably need to reapply some sunblock here soon. Yeah, very sunny today. Very early July, 4th of July weekend. Surprised at how not crowded it is, really. I was expecting this place to be packed, and it's not been bad at all. Probably partially due to the pandemic, I'm guessing. Maybe that's kept people away, or maybe this isn't a busy time because it's too hot for a lot of folks. I don't mind the heat. I actually like it, and it always keeps the crowds away for other places, so maybe my strategy is working well. So according to this too, by the way, this is an accessible trail. So that's pretty cool that they made this come all the way out here. It is a little bit bumpy and cracked, but not in bad condition. And we are starting to see a lot more dense collections of petrified wood the further we go. I mean, just look at that whole field of them here in front of me. Stretches almost as far as the eye can see. All right, so winding around this trail, way out there, I believe, is the Agate House. Let's go see if it's worth doing. So this is pretty cool, cooler than I thought. It's actually a reconstruction of an old pueblo. People were thought to live here between the years 1050 and maybe 1300, so this might be 1,000 years old, is what that's saying. But this was reconstructed in the 1930s, probably from piles of rubble, and that sign back there says that the reconstruction, now they know, is probably not accurate, because they actually have a window over there, which apparently isn't the way it would have been built. You know, in a strange way, this is a log cabin. Think about it. So there you have it, the Agate house. Definitely worth the walk if you have time. I really enjoyed it, a lot more than I thought I would, to be honest. Just gotta take a minute to admire just how many trees are here. I mean, I don't really have the words. It's an entire forest full. So this loop trail is definitely in disrepair. A lot of cracked concrete, so this I don't think is really that fully accessible anymore. Maybe it was at some time. A little steep too. But yeah, you can see for yourself. So these are long logs for sure. There's no arguing that. There's this one contiguous piece. That might be the longest one I've seen today. So some of the signage at the trailhead said that this was really an ancient riverbed, just like we saw at the visitor center. And this is just an old log jam. So I assume what they mean is, you know, all these logs fell into the river, got jammed up, and then the whole process of petrification took hold. And now it's exposed to us millions of years later. And we're just seeing the remnants of this ancient log jam, walking right through it. It's a very alien landscape at times too in this park. You come across this kind of stuff, very colorful, reminiscent of the Painted Desert. We're gonna see a lot more of that as we continue. But then yeah, you turn around and just this field of desolation with all these fallen trees. Yeah, really cool contrast. So for those of you that have been with the channel for a while and watching, you might recall a couple episodes we did at Valley of Fire. Some of the attractions on the east and west sides of the park. It was a two-parter. Put links in the description down below to those, but I was making kind of light of some petrified logs you see in the park. They have a couple stops devoted to like 2 or 3 logs. And I kind of laughed to myself and said, hey, if you've ever been to Petrified Forest National Park, yeah, you probably could even skip those at Valley of Fire. Not very impressive compared to this. So now you all know what I'm talking about. The best part about this, other than just being completely cool, is that there's nobody over here in this section. Once again, I just think it's not as well known. You have to look at your park map and you'll see that it's right by the visitor center pretty much where you catch the trail. But if you don't look at that map and pay attention, you're not gonna know it's here. So I would highly recommend, if you want like peace and quiet and really to enjoy this away from the crowds. I don't know if it's always like this, but man, this has been amazing. Probably one of my favorite experiences in the park so far to date. So our next stop is here at the Crystal Forest. And you can see this is a much more popular destination than the last stop at Long Logs, by far. So what this is supposed to be is just more petrified logs in a Badlands setting. So the logs should be interspersed amongst a lot of the colorful purple and gray dirt. Oh yeah. This is usually one of the main stops that I have always made as a tourist here at the Petrified Forest, usually up by the visitor center, and then here, and usually that's about as much time as I have when I day trip it. So I've been to this section before, and it usually is one of my favorites. I think more not because of the logs, because you see plenty of those everywhere. It's more the setting that the logs are in. So this reminds me of some kind of alien planet that we've landed on, recently devastated by some kind of disaster, maybe a war, maybe a natural disaster. And all that's left are these trees in a very barren, ashen landscape. Ooh. Yeah, to me it is really cool though. I just love the contrast between the grays and the blue purple dirt and these brown logs. It all just, it's very aesthetically pleasing and just plain cool, let's face it. just trying to keep myself in between big groups of people, stay socially distant, safe as I can, and enjoy the scenery here. Boy, is it hot. This is also a very short trail, 3/4 of a mile long, no problem. You know, each spot has just got something really cool about it. I mean, like I said, the Badland features here. I just love the colors in that dirt or clay or conglomerate rock or whatever it is. I need to educate myself. I think we're gonna see a lot more of that as we approach over towards the Painted Desert side. So cool. Oh yeah, I forgot about these guys. This is kind of curious, the coloration on these. It's much more tan. It looks more wood-like than the rest of them, doesn't it? Yeah, these are my favorite things to see in the park, I think, are the long logs. Because you really just get the sense of the tree itself and how immense these things were. And that's why I think I like the Long Logs Trail so much. Had I not seen this long one here, I may have kind of said that Long Logs might be my new current favorite trail, but now I'm having a hard time deciding because this is so neat. This specimen here. This may be one of my favorite petrified logs in the park, actually. And I've seen it before. I just forgot about it, but it's really cool. Yeah, this is really neat. This, to me, looks like real wood. It's not. I assure you, it's hard as a rock. And, because it is rock, but the way it looks like someone took a hatchet to it and they're like, whack, whack. And all these little wood chips flew everywhere. And we could gather it up for kindling, it almost looks like. You could like light this on fire. It looks like dried, rotted wood. But it's not. Yeah, that is among my favorite also. All these tan ones. I really am curious, are they the same tree as the other ones? Now I'm really struggling. I'm really trying to decide Crystal Forest or the Long Logs. What do you guys think from what I showed you? Which one do you prefer? Yeah, this area down here is the best part, including that tan log or logs up there, but this is really where you really feel that wasteland, like that Badlands feel. Tons of logs strewn about here. It's like you can see the tree rings on this one almost. I'm guessing you are seeing the tree rings. I do know that some were so well preserved that they actually can observe the actual cells of some of these things. Now they're not living cells and they're not real, they have been mineralized, but under a microscope, yeah, you could see cellular structures of some of these things. Just imagine that from over 200 million years ago. And I'm wondering too, so you're either digging this video a lot because you're like me and you find this stuff cool, or you are sick of petrified wood at this point, and there's more to come on a future episode. So I apologize if I've overdone it with the petrified wood. I think it just gets better and better. So if we've sold you on wanting to come to Petrified Forest, and I hope we have, we're gonna help you out here with some planning. Head on over to cactusatlas.com, put a link in the description down below to the exact page, but we've got some information for you to get you started on your journey, and we even have the weather forecast. So I hope you enjoyed tagging along with me on the first part of our journey through Petrified Forest. We're gonna continue our journey on a future episode. But if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And always check us out on social media at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So many logs!